Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the inaugural edition of our Philly sports podcast, The Future. I'm Dave,
And I'm Wes.
and you may know us from at MLB Central Updates on Instagram or Philly Central Updates on Instagram as well. And so, over the course of this podcast and future episodes, we're going to talk about the Phillies, Sixers, Eagles, and a little bit about the Flyers as well.
Yeah, and the bright future ahead for all of our four teams in Philly. Every single one, the future is just so bright. Every single one could be in the playoffs. It's just amazing.
Yeah, so if you live in Carson City, Pennsylvania, you trust the process and you trust the prospects at Reese Hoskins, we're the place to listen. So, am I right, Wes?
Yeah, you are. I couldn't have said any better myself.
All right, so with a little overview of the of the podcast today. We're going to start off a little bit with the Phillies. We're going to talk about the offseason moves, Carlos Santana, the manager signing of Gabe Kapler. Then we're going to go into the Eagles for a little bit, talk about the upcoming playoffs, who we want to play in the playoffs, and the Nick Foles, Nate Sudfeld debacle, and then which our favorite to talk about, the Sixers, for the last portion of the podcast, because we have a lot to say about the NBA and the Sixers in general.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
All right, so let's get into it. What about the Phils? What do you like this offseason?
I liked the fact that they brought back Nishek. That was a good signing for a bullpen that was kind of dismal last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I just question Santana signing. I mean, when they made that signing, they made it sound like it was like a Jim Thome signing from 2004 with the Phillies then. And that signified a change from tanking and being awful to we got this player, we paid him a metric fuck ton of money, and we are going to try and win now. This is not the same thing. Santana is not even close to as good as how good Jim Thome was, okay? And it displaces Reese Hoskins to left field. And you already have a clog in the outfield for prospects, and with Altair, with Odubel, with Nick Williams, young talent right now. So I question that signing so much.
Okay, so I forgot to mention this before. Wes and I obviously are both gonna cover all three major sports, but I'm more of the baseball guy. Wes and I are both basketball guys, and then Wes is a little bit more in the NFL and football. And so throughout our podcasts, Wes and I will disagree with each other a lot, and we'll get into some debates. And I guess this will be one of those times. And well, I'm not going to obviously disagree with what you said about Carlos Santana being Jim Thome, and that's not really a debatable thing. Like, I agree with you there. But I do think the Carlos Santana signing was very good for a couple reasons. One, it all starts with Gabe Kapler becoming our new manager. And Wes, I had this conversation with you multiple times that new modern managers have to be young or have to be pro analytics. And you said, well, Joe Madden, what about Terry Francona? Joe Madden and Terry Francona are two of the most pro-analytics, two of the most pro-modern thinking managers in baseball, and they're the two most successful managers, really. I mean, like, the way that Terry Francona utilized the bullpen in that 2016 playoff run with Andrew Miller, that sort of revolutionized the way people think about postseason baseball. And then the way that Joe Madden has utilized Ben Zobrist, played Bryant in multiple positions, the same way the Phillies might play Hoskins in first base and left field. Bryant played in third base and left field. And the way Joe Madden utilized Anthony Rizzo as a leadoff hitter, which was my point, my segue to the Carlos Santana thing is, Kapler has mentioned multiple times, he's been on the record saying that he will play around with the lineup a lot. He's open to new thinking, and Francona used Santana as the leadoff man for a little bit in Cleveland, and I won't be surprised if he uses Santana as the leadoff man, at least for parts of the season, or at least tries it out in Philly this upcoming season. And I like the Santana signing for a couple of reasons. One, obviously he's a veteran, he's proven to be good. He's probably the best hitter on our team now. Like, Reese has shown more explosiveness, but he's played 760 games, not proven like Santana has, and the consistency that Santana has. It also shows other free agents for next year, like the Phillies, are ready to play. Like, we're done with this Pete McCann, Ryan Sandberg BS. We're just gonna be awful and we're not even gonna try to compete. This isn't a Michael Saunders, Clay Buchholz, Jeremy Hellickson signing. You agree with that? Yeah, like this is a signing that says, all right, we're ready to compete. This year we might not make the playoffs. I think that we're going to be around 80 wins, missing out of the playoffs, but that's
I
around
don't
the
see how we
500
make the
team.
playoffs.
What?
I don't see how we make the playoffs with the Rockies and the
No,
Diamondbacks.
I
think
don't,
we'd be
I don't
happy
think
to
we make
get
the.
78 wins, but
That's
that's me.
that's respectable, and you know why? This is a 3-year deal we got Santana on. That we're playing for next year. There's a huge free agent class next year. We have a big market. We have a lot of money to spend. I like the move a lot because it gets the teams, it at least gets the young guys, like used to winning baseball. Is that fair?
Okay, that's not why I have a problem with the signing. I have a problem with the signing because it hinders the development of every single outfield
So
prospect
let me.
in the minors and the majors.
That's one thing I forgot to
Okay,
mention. You always tell me about how much you hate our starting pitching rotation, and you really can say that Aaron Nola is the only one that has shown sign of consistent brilliance on the mound, and I would
yeah.
agree with that.
Thompson flashes,
Yeah,
not much
but
other than that.
flashes, but Nola's been consistent. We have, if you consider Reese, who's probably untradeable, we have three other very young and proven outfielders, plus a multitude of talented outfielders in our farm system that Kapler has like he has them
You
in
know
his
how
back
many
pocket.
fucking outfielders we have in our farm system, David?
Exactly. That's
Okay,
that's when that's when the
every
starting
single
pitching
year
comes
in the
in.
past 3 years, we have drafted a high school outfielder. Okay, those
No,
have all been
we
top
got
10
we got
picks.
Hazley was from
Cornelius
UVA.
ran up Adam Hazley and
He was from
Matt
UVA.
Moon.
He's not high school. Anyways, I get your point, but that's exactly why we're gonna trade for a starting pitcher. I think this offseason. I
One
wouldn't be
more.
surprised if we get Lance Lynn type pitcher this offseason who's at least like the number two in our rotation and can help us obviously not only just for now but like 2 years down the road when we're ready to compete. Lance Lynn will be here to be a part of our rotation, and I think that that's why Kapler did this. And at worst comes to worst, we just have four good starting outfielders and we platoon them, and there's nothing wrong with that. If someone gets injured, we're fine. You can play matchups. Nick Williams doesn't have to face many left-handed pitchers. Like, what's the problem with that? It doesn't hinder their growth. They'll still get over 500 plate appearances.
It's just too much. And then what are you going to do with Tommy Joseph? You just eliminated every single part of his value that
That's
you had.
that's the
Because he
that's the
obviously
person
needs
that's
to be
going to get
traded.
hurt most. I agree with you, but you got to accept that.
I can't accept it. I mean, now you're going to spend money on him when you're not ready to win. Okay?
On Santana,
Yes.
well, it's a 3-year deal, so you're saying two. I think 2 years, 2 or 3 years from now, I think we'll be ready to win, and I don't think that's wasting money.
Carlos Santana is not also the youngest fellow.
He's 30,
He's got a few years on him.
30, 31.
Yeah. Okay? And
Okay, well, I think it's fair to say Wes and I love talking about the Phillies, and we're going to have a lot of time to talk about them later in the year, but let's talk about some more imminent dangers that we have. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles.
Also, all right, wait.
Okay, he wants
Also,
to talk.
you took my comments about Francona and Madden out of context, okay? You
Okay.
said that no professional sports coach or manager should be over 45. And I gave
That
you
was a joke.
multiple
If
examples.
it's over text, it's a joke, and I was referring to their mantra about the game and their usage of analytics. And I'm extremely pro analytics, and you'll come to know that as we go on. All right, Eagles.
Yep.
What the hell, man? Why does God hate Philadelphia sports?
Yeah, I know, right? Right. I was at that. I was at the game. Okay.
Hmm.
The Cowboys game. That was my first game. Okay.
Yeah, what'd you think?
My Jesus Christ. That was the most. It was the worst shitfest I've seen in my entire life. Donnie Jones was literally the MVP of that game.
Yeah, and that's a good point because unless you want to go on, I have a point that I want to make.
Okay, you go.
So like when in professional sports and college sports, even when the best player on a team or a significant player on a team gets injured, everyone says, "All right, next man up, like pick him up, let's go." All right, so Carson Wentz is the face of the Philadelphia Eagles franchise. If you live in Philadelphia, around Philadelphia, you know that Philadelphia is a football city. So Carson Wentz's injury really crushed the city because there was sort of like a communal feeling where we were like, this could be the year we win a Super Bowl because the Patriots are good, but not that good. There's no Aaron Rodgers. There's no Seahawks defense in the playoffs. Like, this
Thank
could have been the
God.
year. And Wentz was playing unbelievably, obviously. So he gets injured. He's out for the season, possibly parts of next year. And so Nick Foles comes to be the quarterback. And everyone's like, all right, next man up. Nick, you're going to save the season for us. And I'm looking at that like, hell no. Nick Foles is not going to save the season for us. The way that I interpret next man up is every other part of the Philadelphia Eagles team and their scheme and their mantra has to be elite, and by that I mean it needs to be top 5 in the NFL. So I don't want to see Torrey Smith dropping balls on an easy first down pass completion, right? You can't have that. You can't have running backs fumbling the ball. You can't have Vitae getting absolutely smoked down the line and pressuring Nick Foles, because Nick Foles isn't mobile. The offensive line has to be great. Ajayi and Blunt have to be great. The receiving core has to be great. Alshon Jeffrey, man, you got to get open. Like, I'm going to at you. You need to get open and make some big plays. On the defensive end, we can't get bit by double moves. Our defense needs to carry us. We shouldn't be allowing more than really 20 points in the playoffs. I don't care how good the team is. If you want to win, we're not allowing more than 20 points. Everybody step up. Jake Elliott, you're not missing a field goal inside of 50 yards in the playoffs. All right, Donnie Jones.
30 yards.
Exactly, Donnie Jones. You're gonna punt exactly like you did in the Cowboys game. You're gonna do well. That's everybody else has to step up. It does not have to be Nick Foles. Nick Foles needs to be a game manager because you can't expect more from him. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Okay, but the thing you have to realize here is that all the games are going to be at the link. Okay,
That's big.
This Eagles defense is not going to not going to let another team put up more than 20 points against this defense. Okay,
That's what I think. I agree.
This is an aggressive defense. So yes, the double moves they hurt, but Jalen Mills, he was trying to jump around and get a pick. Okay, he needs to play back a little bit in these situations. Also, at the cornerback position, Sidney Jones locked Dez Bryant down. Okay, he was actually playing on the right side most of the game when it was in, and Dez was lined up usually against him. But yeah, he locked him down. He has number one corner in his blood. You can see it. Okay, he missed that tackle against Ezekiel Elliott, and that wasn't the greatest thing ever. But it's his first game ever. Okay, he's coming back from an injury.
Yeah,
give him some slack.
I agree. I think he looked promising in the game. I also like the way Rasul Douglas looked, and I mean, like, he made some good plays. He made some bad plays, but he made some good plays.
No, dude, Rasul Douglas actually played like dog shit. Okay,
he made some very good plays.
He was turned around.
We're talking about the same game. He made some bad plays. He made some very good plays.
Let the ball fall in front of him.
He's not one of our main cornerbacks. All right. So we're fine. He made some good plays and he made some bad plays, but I think the good overrode the bad in that game for Douglas.
For Rasul, I disagree. But anyway, back to what you were saying. Quarterbacks, next man up mentality. That doesn't really apply to quarterbacks. Okay.
Especially when it's an MVP candidate. Oh my God.
That's devastating. And I think the team showed some real character in the Rams game. They saw their teammate go to the locker room. They saw Carson fucking Wentz go to the locker room, okay? That man has been through everything, okay? He's from fucking North Dakota, man. It's in the middle of fucking nowhere, okay? They see their lock go to the locker room, and what do? They score 2 field goals.
I agree. That was my favorite. I mean, like, obviously I hated it because Wentz got hurt, but that was my favorite team game of the year. I thought that was very telling. So
those last 3 wins against the Raiders, Giants, and Rams are the only times in my entire life I have ever been like sad after a win. Okay.
Yeah.
Continually sad. I was sad on Tuesday, and I was sad on Wednesday, and I was sad through the week.
That's fair. So if we can shift gears a little bit on the Eagles front. So we can play in the divisional round either Carolina, Atlanta, or the Saints. We can't play the Rams, depending on who wins, because we play the lowest remaining seed. So and obviously we'll be at home. So what do you think the best matchup for us is?
I think it's got to be the Falcons, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because the defense, it's a little shaky, okay? They don't have very many elite pieces on that team. Okay, Keanu Neal, he's played very well this year. Deion Jones, he's played very well. Tack McKinley, for a rookie, he's played very well. Desmond Trufant, I don't know if he's in or not, but because he's been injured a lot, but he's a very underrated corner, and he can shut down like Nelson, okay? But,
Yeah.
I mean, Alshon would have an advantage on him because he's only 5'10", but...
Yeah. So I think that the correct answer in this question is whichever team has the worst run defense, so we can run the ball, right? And
Yeah.
I agree. And I think out of the three, the Atlanta, believe it or not, with the Atlanta Falcons, the reigning MVP, would actually be the easiest offense to combat. I think
Yes. I would
because
agree, too.
because
No tight ends.
yeah, the no tight ends thing, and also the Saints have two legit running backs. They have that was a bad voice crack, but they have Drew Brees, who's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Drew Brees has fallen off, though. He doesn't have the same zip on
He
his
doesn't.
passes,
He's
but
still
I
Drew
agree.
Brees. He's a Super Bowl champion, right? He's definitely the most accomplished quarterback in the NFC playoffs right now, right? And I think that definitely wouldn't want to play the Saints and Carolina. Mobile quarterbacks, like, I get we already beat them, but that was with Wentz, and they didn't have Kuechly in that game either. And like,
He played Kuechly for half the game.
yeah, but the second half was when we pulled away, and I don't know how I'm gonna feel with a mobile quarterback. Also, their defense is playing well. Carolina's clicking on all cylinders right now. I know they lost to Atlanta, but they still scare me. Yeah, I'd rather play Atlanta too.
Yeah, as of the recording of this podcast about 40 minutes ago, I got into an argument with the Panthers Instagram. I commented on one of their posts, and I was like, all right, so there's either good Cam or there's bad Cam. Super Cam shows up when he does not get pressured. When Cam does not get pressured, he is that team, and he plays like an MVP. You throw a little pressure on him, you throw Fletcher Cox going down the middle against Trey Turner, backing him up into his face, he gets scared. Okay, he starts making wild passes. That's what you got to do, and I think that's a good matchup for us on offense. Or for our
The
defense
mobility
against their
skill.
offense.
You can look at the Seahawks game. Like, mobile quarterbacks are what's gonna hurt us, because
Well, we already played the Panthers.
I
So
know,
look at the
but
Panthers
it's
game.
different. We can't, like, if Carolina puts up 20 points, we're gonna lose the game. There's no way we put up 20 points on that defense.
I think there's a way.
I disagree. I think that Atlanta's definitely the best matchup for us, but I would put the Panthers second. The Saints are the last
Yeah, I
team I
would
want to
too.
play.
I don't want to fuck with the Saints.
Yeah. And honestly, like, now that obviously I want to win the Super Bowl, make the Super Bowl, but winning a playoff game would really mean a lot for this city, I think.
Oh, it would. We haven't won a playoff game in 8 years. What was it, 2008? 9 years?
Yeah. Like, just
It's
winning
been
a
a drought.
playoff game would be, especially because there weren't really that many expectations going into the year.
Yeah, I mean, I had 10-6 at the beginning of the year, and at most 11-5.
Mhm.
And people were saying, "You're a little crazy, Wes. Stop predicting so much." They went 7-9 last year. Chill. Look at them now.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, if we have Wentz, we're probably a 14-2 team. Or maybe if he didn't play, we're still 13-3, but whatever. It's really the same thing. And
Yes.
like, our pass defense might be the weakest part of our team's game. Would you agree with that?
Of our team's game, I think quarterbacking
Well, obviously, besides that. I meant to, yeah.
of the defense.
Or just even, I think our offensive line's better than our pass defense.
Oh, our offensive line is very good.
So
Okay, when Stefan Wisniewski gets in there, he was top 5 in PFF. I think he was like number 3 for left guards once he got in there.
yeah. I think that our pass defense is worse than our running game and worse than our receiving core.
Yeah. I think, the only weakness we have really is quarterback and pass defense a little bit, okay?
And-
Because our corners are young and aggressive. Okay,
Yeah.
Patrick Robinson's been playing out of his mind this year. But how long is that going to last?
Yeah. What I want to mention is that I've been hearing, like, obviously I watch a lot of, like, First Things First Take, The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Like, I watch a lot of that. And a lot of them have been saying that, like, was Wentz's greatness this year sort of overshadowing and making up for the weaknesses on the Eagles team? And I think the answer is no, honestly. Because Wentz was phenomenal, which goes without saying, but the team without Wentz is still like you're telling me since if from the start of the season if Nick Foles was our quarterback, I still think we're a playoff team. We probably would have maybe a wild card and maybe we would have won the division with Zeke suspended, but I still think we're a playoff team.
No, I disagree entirely with that. Okay.
Okay, why?
You saw how bad he looked in
He
the
would have had
Cowboys
he
game,
would have
first
had
quarter,
more
okay?
time to
Raiders
get
game, he looked awful.
he would have had more time to get used to it, and we still have a winning record with Nick Foles. All right.
Well, also you saw Carson Wentz covering up for Kelsey's mistakes when he took the low snaps.
Mhm.
You saw Kelsey making those
Yeah.
same low snaps in the Raiders game, I believe, and he fumbled them. He fumbled one in Giants game as well.
I think it's realistic to say we'd be 9-7 or 10-6 with Nick Foles as our quarterback.
I disagree. Okay.
Okay, we're
Does Nelson Aguilar get the same type of season? I don't think so.
okay. It's fair, but I don't think that Wentz completely overcame overshadowed all of the weaknesses. Like, I still think that they're like now the quarterback plays the biggest weakness. It wasn't like Wentz was making up for other weaknesses on the other side of the ball or on the offensive line or anything else. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I don't. This team would not be 10-6, 9-7. Okay, and here's the reason why. Third down conversions.
That's
okay?
huge. That's huge.
Before, when Wentz was running the show, 45%. Okay, third in the NFL. With Foles running the show, ever since the Raiders game and the first quarter of the Cowboys game, they're 1 for 17 on third down.
It's awful. It's because it's a passing situation. And
Exactly.
I don't know. I still think we could have. I mean, look, Blake Bortles. What were the Jaguars? 11-5.
Yeah, but Blake Bortles went on that run of the 4 straight games of very decent play. Oh my God, that's weird, man. It's Blake Bortles. What is?
Yeah,
what's going
and
on?
Foles had a decent game against the Giants and played well against the Rams. So that's 2 out of 4 decent games for him. Like, I think that it would have came together, especially if we. I mean, like now that we got Ajayi, obviously, but I think we would have definitely gotten running back help at the deadline, knowing that Nick Foles was our quarterback the whole season, not Carson Wentz. But
No.
hopefully we don't
No.
have to deal with that next year. Like, hopefully Wentz will be back at least at some point towards the beginning of the season. So
Sudfeld's going to be the backup next year. Okay, they're probably going to trade Foles for
that's what I want to do. And I was actually
round pick.
I was considering to start Sudfeld in the playoff game, but you yelled at me.
Yeah, I don't think you can start Nate Sudfeld.
It was
okay?
it was
You
an
gotta
impulse
first
reaction.
NFL action.
It was
this
an-
week.
He did have the highest completion percentage of any NFL quarterback in his
Yes.
first start ever, which is pretty. I mean,
Yeah.
like most of them were checkdowns, to be fair, but it was still pretty interesting.
Yeah, he was what 19 for 23, 18
Yeah,
for 23, and it was
19 for
18 for 23.
It was 18.
It was 18, I believe.
Okay.
But that doesn't really mean that much, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
'Cause,
We done with the birds? Because I want to talk about some basketball, baby. You know I want to talk about some basketball.
wait, all right, one last thing. Is Carson Wentz the MVP?
I think he deserves it over Brady. Because Brady's numbers have not been good towards the end of the year. He's had like a 56 QBR in the past like 5 games.
Yeah,
I
and
think he
lost to
deserves.
the Dolphins.
And if you want, if you want to make the Todd Gurley argument, whatever. But I think the best thing, like literally the most valuable player, look at the past 2 games and then look at the rest of the year with Carson Wentz. Bang.
Exactly.
That's
Okay,
case in
third
point.
down.
But you know, like I understand, like they're not going to give it to Wentz. He might get 3rd or 4th or maybe even 2nd. But like they're not going to give it to him. But it's an interesting argument.
I believe with Carson Wentz at quarterback, the Eagles were 13 for 13 on 4th downs this year. Or
His
fourth and
QB
short.
sneak, the way he runs the QB sneak, you can't defend it.
Yeah,
He
but
broke
also,
he broke
I mean,
the game.
Yeah, they're really tall. Both
Yeah.
of them, all 3 of them. Okay, literally every single quarterback on the Eagles is a carbon copy of each other.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Except
They're
all of them are slow as hell
6'6"
besides Wentz.
gingers with good arms.
Yeah.
Fultz is Fultz. Not Fultz. Anyway, speaking of Fultz.
Oh, did you
Talk
hear
about
about
Sixer Dave.
before we talk about like what we plan to talk about? Did you hear there just was a Fultz update like 30 minutes ago?
Yeah, I did.
What do we make of that before we get into it?
I mean, it's obviously good news. He's gonna come back. I would say, I mean, it's the Sixers, so probably it's going to be like he's out for the year. But
That's what I thought the whole time. I think end of January, early February is a realistic thing.
I believe the update was he's like going and resuming full basketball activity, right?
Yeah, so he's gonna be like practicing with the team and stuff like soon.
Yeah.
So that means end of January for me.
I don't think it's going to be the Pistons game. I don't think it's going to be the
That's
Spurs game.
Wes, come on, that's tomorrow. Like, this is the Sixers, remember?
I said I don't think it's
okay,
gonna
I
be.
know, but like, don't even mention that. Like, that goes without
Yeah.
saying.
I think it's probably going to be a week at least, and then we'll probably return at the end of next week.
Okay, that's fair. So for this is gonna be like we're gonna spend a huge portion of the cast on the Sixers and just the NBA in general right now. So first things first, I guess let's talk about the last 3 games of the road trip, specifically the Phoenix game.
Yeah. Phoenix.
You can start up because I have some things that I want to say too.
All right. Yeah, the Phoenix game. It was a good win. It was a good win. It was good to see Brett Brown learn from his mistakes. Formerly he had Ben Simmons on Devin Booker, and you saw how that worked out.
I'm glad you mentioned
points.
that. And the same thing when they had Simmons guarding LeBron. Like that was borderline retarded.
Well, no, Simmons guarding LeBron. I mean,
why Covington is one of the 10 best perimeter defenders in the NBA. Why are you not having him guard? He should be guarding the best perimeter player, unless it's like a 5'8" guy every single game. Like it goes without saying, especially when you want Simmons running the offense. Too much effort for him guarding their best player.
Well, also when LeBron was orchestrating the Cavaliers' offense from time to time in there, then you just run back and you still got him on. You don't have to switch at all in the transition.
Yeah, I mean, I see that, but I don't know. I'm glad that I told you before the game when we were talking before the Suns game. I really wanted to see Covington on Booker, and I thought that would help a lot, which it did. Because I think he ended up with 26 or 28 points, but he was really inefficient.
32.
He ended up with 32, but he was really inefficient, like very, very inefficient.
Yeah, and
we'll take that.
Yeah, I'll take that, man. He's gonna make those in-your-face threes every once in a while because he's a top 30 player.
Oh well, we're gonna talk about that later because that's something we're gonna talk about.
That's probably a topic for next podcast.
No, it's not. We're talking about it later. But let's talk about the Sixers. Talk about the game. So I have some Embiid analogies I want to make, but first off, so I thought that we were gonna lose the game because we had, I think it was an 18-point lead, and I think Allah even mentioned it on the broadcast. Like he was like, "All right, it's an 18-point lead. Watch what happens when Embiid goes out of the game." Embiid goes out of the game for 4 minutes. He comes back. It's a 4-point lead. And Allah was like, "Oh, Brett Brown's smart. He's putting Embiid back in. He sees they're on a run without Embiid on the floor." I'm like, "No shit. This is what happens every time." Like it's literally like there's something about the number 18. I think that's the 3rd game in like this past month where we've had an 18-point lead and they come roaring back. And thank God, like Embiid towards the end, at the end of the 3rd quarter, Embiid took over, and then in the middle, towards the end of the 4th quarter, Simmons took over, which I was literally the most amazing thing to see was Ben Simmons scoring the basketball. That was great, and like any Philly sports fan should be ecstatic looking at that.
Oh yeah,
the way
it was great,
and he even hit a couple elbow jumpers. And Saric, by the way, if he can, I'll mention in the broadcast also that Saric fixed his jump shot from a line drive to more of a normal shot, I guess you could say, because the shot before was sort of really ugly, and he's been shooting over 50%. Obviously, he won't keep that going, but if he's a 35-40% three-point shooter, that means a lot to this team because he's been playing great ever since he shot the ball well.
Oh yeah, he's 7 in the last 3 games. Okay, well, in the Knicks game, he
was awful. He was awful. Yeah. But Embiid played well, so he made up for him. Yeah.
But in his last 3 games, he's got 12 threes on 18 shots.
Yeah.
Okay. It's 66%. That's ungodly. Okay, he's obviously not going to keep this clip up, but did he say at 41, 39%? I'll take it, okay?
Yeah.
Because that's what he needs to do to fit in this offense, okay?
Yeah.
I don't want him to be limited to a Channing Frye type of player where he just all he does is sit on the bench and shoot threes once he gets in.
Yeah, because he
But,
has skill.
Yeah, he does.
So
You see, when Embiid wasn't on the floor, he was dishing passes, okay, with Simmons, okay? And so when Simmons was off the floor, he really filled that role very well.
yeah. Also, I want to quick mention this, and then I'm going to talk about my Embiid stuff. T.J. McConnell is first of all, he's awesome. Like, everyone loves T.J. McConnell. He's great to watch. But second, like, he is actually a very good NBA player. Like, it's not just like when he's not good for a 6'1" white guy, right? Like, he's legitimately a good NBA player. Like, he added a 3-point shot. I haven't seen him miss one of those mid-range jumpers the whole season. And I'm like,
Yeah, those little, yeah.
I'm actually serious. I
footers.
wonder if there's a stat to like see that like exact shot, because I don't remember ever him missing one this whole year.
He missed one last game, and I think that was the first time. And it's the same way with
Really?
JJ Redick.
I don't remember that.
2 points. Whenever he shoots a 2, it always goes in.
Yeah, Redick's high percentage. McConnell like is really like in the 90s, but Redick's probably in the 60s or 70s from his version of the around the screen.
I've legitimately never seen him miss one.
He's missed when he comes off the screen at the elbow or whatever. He's missed those.
Not one of those. Like when he's just like overall 2-point shots.
Well, that's a 2-point shot, a shot from the elbow. I've seen him miss that.
Yeah, I mean like overall.
Yeah, anyways. So let's talk about Embiid.
Yeah.
I mentioned both of these to you before, and they were kind of like I was saying, like, are they crazy? Should I mention this? And you said, yeah, go for it. So Embiid, if you watched the game, you know he was guarded by Tyson Chandler most of the game. It was New Year's Eve, so that was Sunday, the game, right? And Chandler's a former Defensive Player of the Year. He has the dad bod going. He's very, very strong, and like he's older, yeah, but the footwork and the knowledge of how to play defense doesn't really go with age. So I think it's pretty fair to say he's a good defender for a center, right?
He's 35.
He's still a good defender.
So he's got good size on Embiid. I mean, they match up pretty well.
Yeah. Okay. So Joel Embiid was plus 32 in that game in the 31 minutes he played. So in the 17 minutes Embiid didn't play, we lost by 20 or something. Like it was around the 20s. I don't remember the exact score. Embiid was plus 32 in 31 minutes played. And let me talk about this a little more. So Embiid didn't really touch the ball on a meaningful possession since 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and he was still plus 32. Because the last 4 minutes he had the hand thing, and also Sarge was feeling himself, Simmons was feeling himself, Brett Brown was like, all right, I'm just going to take my boy out, let him get some rest. And because we didn't really need him, and he was in foul trouble. But he was still plus 32. And Amir Johnson wasn't.
Was in foul trouble.
Amir Johnson wasn't plus 32. So let me tell you this. Embiid literally can stand there on the court, both offensively and defensively, and have so much value. Defensively, I think there were 5 or 6 times that I counted in that game where Booker or TJ Warren went like to the rim, and Embiid was standing there and stuck his arm out, and instead of making an easy layup, which they still probably would have made because Embiid wasn't really doing anything, they were so fearful of his shot blocking ability, he passed it out and then someone bricked the 3 or something like that. Like, that's really valuable, and that's stuff that doesn't show on the stat sheet except for the plus minus. Offensively, he spreads the floor. Obviously, his passes, his assists, his past 2 assists when he kicks the ball out, when he draws double teams, obviously all that. So one of my favorite. So I'm also gonna be using a lot of baseball analogies throughout our podcasts because that's how I make sense of stuff, and I hope you like it. So I think this one fits pretty well. One of my favorite YouTube videos is it's this video called like "What if Barry Bonds never had a bat?" and I encourage you all to watch it because it's literally one of the most amazing things ever, and it's what got me into baseball analytics and baseball statistics. So this guy does this video, and basically the premise of it is in Barry Bonds' 2004 season, he had a 609 on base percentage, and for you non-baseball people, that basically means that like 61% of the time Barry Bonds went up to the plate, he got on base, and the average is like maybe a little bit over 30%. Like it was literally it's ridiculous and will never be broken.
Yeah.
So
It was about double
yeah,
the average.
yeah. So Barry Bonds' fear single-handedly, like this guy did this complicated, like, it's more complicated than you would think that from me explaining it, but basically he went back and simulated all of Barry Bonds at bats and said if he didn't have a bat, but like the pitcher didn't know that, so he pitched them exactly as he would have because of Barry Bonds, like just because it's Barry freaking Bonds, like he hit 70 home runs a couple years ago. He would have had a 608 on base percentage, like 1,000th lower than he would have before, because people just fear him so much. This fear is more powerful than skill, and more powerful than anything else. And so I'm looking at Joel Embiid, and I'm like, all right, so you're not going to shoot a wide open layup because you're afraid Joel Embiid's going to block you. All right, that's why he's plus 32. You're not going to do all of these things. On defensively, they treat him differently because you're afraid Joel Embiid's going to block you. He doesn't even have to do anything. He had a freaking sprained hand in the last 3 minutes, and he was still valuable with a sprained hand. He couldn't even do anything with it. Like, that's Barry Bonds. And the second thing I'm going to say with that is, the second analogy is he's sort of like a Bryce Harper in the sense that, and you Phillies fans will know, Bryce Harper hit 2, maybe 3 really clutch home runs off us this year, right?
Yeah.
Most of them were towards the beginning of the year. Like, one was on Mother's Day, I remember. Like, this dude is feared. I'll say this, I've said this before, I'll say it again, he's the most feared hitter in baseball. Pitchers don't want to pitch to him late in the game. He's not the best hitter, he's maybe the third or fourth best hitter in baseball, but he's the most feared hitter. Embiid's not the best player in the NBA, he's maybe a top 15 player in the NBA, but he is feared. Like, Tyson Chandler's a great defender, but he would not go out on Embiid when Embiid was at the elbow because he's like, all right, I don't want Embiid to just drive right by me and jam all over me and then troll me on Twitter or post a picture on Instagram of him and me in the background while he's dunking. Like, these people are literally afraid of Embiid, and Embiid's like, all right, I'll just shoot a wide open jumper from the elbow that I know how to make, but for some reason you guys are not going to guard me. Like, I don't understand that, because they're literally afraid that Embiid's going to do some Elijah post move or something like that. There's no other reason why they would keep letting him shoot these wide open elbow jumpers that he keeps making.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't have said any better myself. Man.
Like, I think that, and it's sort of like Bryce Harper's up with the bases loaded, and the Nats are down a run in the bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, and you're like, all right, if you didn't know it was Bryce Harper, you weren't afraid of him, you throw him a fastball middle in, like, because you don't want to get behind the count. He blasts one to right center, game over, grand slam. Like, but then, or you could say, all right, this is Bryce Harper. Like, we're only up a run, bases loaded. I'm gonna throw him like a slider away and like hope it sneaks in without, like, you know what I mean? And then he just hits, and then he just slaps a double down the left field line, and then it's the same result. They still win the game. It's just you weren't embarrassed as badly as if he hit a walk-off grand slam and bat flipped.
Yeah,
that's my thing.
To the Barry Bonds analogy, in that, if you remember a few years ago, they walked Barry Bonds to the bases loaded.
Yeah, they mentioned that in a YouTube video. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows how much respect they have for him.
Mm-hmm. It's such fair, and I'm not comparing Embiid to either of those guys, like in terms of greatness or skill set or like popular.
I would compare him to Bryce Harper.
Okay, Bryce Harper maybe, but not Barry Bonds, obviously. And he's similar to Bryce Harper, but he's never won an MVP. He should have won Rookie of the Year, but like he's not at that level yet. He's maybe ascending there. He's almost there, but he's not there yet. But that's at least close to Barry Bonds. He's nowhere.
All right, you say that Joel Embiid is a top 20 player, okay?
I think he's the 10th best player in the NBA.
Number 10.
I put him in number 10.
I believe.
Yeah, number 10.
Like the best players, not the most valuable.
Yeah, because of the injuries, not as
obviously.
valuable, right? But he's the 10th best player in the NBA. If you're giving me a healthy Joel Embiid, he's 10th.
The 10th best player in the NBA. I think he has potential to go in the top 3, which is unheard of for a big man. Since maybe
Shaq.
Dwight Howard. Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dwight Howard's
that's
really the best, but his prime was so short.
Oh yeah, it was. But I mean, he made 6 All-Star games.
Hmm. But at the top, like at
Yeah,
the elite level, he was
yeah.
short.
Embiid right now is number 10. Bryce Harper, I would say top 5. I would put him
For a position player, he's 5 or 6 for me, and we'll get into that when we talk about the MLB.
position player.
Yeah,
I would put him top 5.
yeah. Okay,
Position
fifth.
players.
That's fair.
Top 10 overall. Okay. So what about like just talent and like how good he is? Okay.
For talent, Bryce
say,
Harper's second in the MLB.
Yeah.
He's more
Okay.
talented. Jose Altuve is a better player. I'd rather have Jose Altuve on my team, but you look at Bryce Harper, you see his swing, you see the swagger about him. He's more talented than Jose Altuve.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I don't think it's irrational to compare Bryce Harper and Joel Embiid.
Okay. They're both young. They're ascending. They're faces of the NBA of their leagues.
Yeah, and you got to remember that Bryce Harper's first year was 2012, and Embiid's first year was last year.
Yeah,
Okay?
but
His 2 seasons
both
were-
of them have
Harper's
had
5.
injury problems, but Embiid's had more obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Embiid's he might be the most injury-prone player in professional sports other than Derrick Rose.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the Spurs game tomorrow, and then to our, what we were talking about last night about the 5 different facets of the game. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Spurs game tomorrow, and my guess is Embiid won't play because
Um,
the hand
I
thing.
would say he's gonna play.
You think he's gonna? They haven't said anything, and usually when they don't say anything, that means that he's not gonna play because they don't want, especially at a home game, they don't want people to not go.
Well, they said a few days ago, last week, for the Raptors game that he wasn't gonna play, or he was gonna play either of them, I believe, 2 weeks ago. So maybe they're learning from their lesson.
I don't know, the sprained hand, and also he's gonna want to play Friday against Drummond. That's gonna be such a good game, and I want to go to that game, but it's gonna be nice. Anyways,
he didn't look awkward.
I think
when he was playing.
I think he
was
could play.
fine.
I just don't think they will play him.
I think he's fine enough because I didn't see any lingering effects. Like Ala and Mark were saying, he was going for the high fives with the right hand,
Yeah.
which was the one he injured. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He
He
wasn't,
seemed fine,
treating it
but
gingerly.
uh-huh.
And it's been 2 days. Okay, that's plenty of time.
Yeah.
But
We had
anyway,
a lot of
back to-
time between the games.
Back to the Spurs game. Okay, they're not going to have Rudy Gay. I believe I saw
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
in the injury report during the Suns game. So that's a solid loss. I don't know if he's starting. I think he's on the bench this year for them.
Yeah.
Kawhi is back. Again, you're going to get your Tony Parker, you're going to get your LaMarcus Aldridge, and you're going to get your Pau Gasol. Okay, and
Yeah.
that's a very experienced but old, obviously, core. I think LaMarcus Aldridge is the only player to average 20 points or more, or 20 points and 10 rebounds or something like that, over 30, in the NBA.
Yeah. Whatever.
He's a force. Okay, the man's big.
Yeah.
Mark is big.
Sarge will have to have his work cut out for him.
I don't know. I think he's more of a center. We're gonna have to put a center on him. Maybe he's gonna be Amir Johnson material. Okay?
Yeah, but then who's gonna guard Pau Gasol? But anyways,
Pau Gasol, Dario is.
you think they're gonna switch it?
Yeah.
'Cause,
I mean,
okay.
Pau Gasol he plays power forward a little bit. I believe as well.
I thought he was the center and Aldridge was the power forward.
Yeah, but when they switch when he goes off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so, first of all, if Pau Gasol is guarding Embiid's gonna have a field day.
Oh my God.
That's one. I'd be surprised if he doesn't put up 30. If he plays over 30 minutes and Pau Gasol's guarding him most of the time, I'd be surprised if he didn't put up 30. That's one. Two, Robert Covington better be guarding Kawhi Leonard, or else I'm gonna be pissed.
That's gonna be a good matchup.
Yeah, it is a very good matchup.
Defensive stalwarts.
And I'm
That
I'm
wins
almost positive they'll put Kawhi on Simmons on the other end. I mean,
Uh,
I hope he guards Covington because that's a waste of a great perimeter defender.
Well, yeah, obviously.
On
Do you even need to guard Simmons on the perimeter? I mean, no, you don't.
Well,
But
you need to guard him off the dribble. That's what
yeah,
a perimeter defender essentially does.
yeah, but still, like you could, and then you have Saul and Aldridge to clean up. But
Yeah,
I mean, I see your logic.
I hope he guards Covington because right, Covington might get a couple catch and shoot shots, but that's not really the way our offense will run. I think that if Embiid plays, we should win the game.
Um,
I know that's weird to
I
say.
disagree.
We sh- I'm not saying we will. I think we should win the game if Embiid plays. We're at home, and like the Spurs haven't been great since Kawhi came back. There's growing pains and trying to incorporate him back. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
it's a cross country. They're on the East Coast. I think that we have a lot of rest. If Embiid is full health, we should win the game.
Um, yeah, but if they put Aldridge on Embiid because he's a bigger physical presence than Gasol,
But Embiid could shoot
could
right
have
over him.
problems with them. Well, all right. So you've seen that Boban Marjanovic. Embiid had problems with him, and he's 7'3", and he's like 300 pounds or so.
Mm-hmm.
He has problems with bigger centers. Okay, he had problems with Steven Adams in OKC in the post. Okay,
He had a very good
he
game
played
that
well.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, but we still had problems with him in the post. Okay,
Yeah.
so will we win the game? I don't know, man. It's Pop. Okay, you know that's gotta mean something right there. And he's got Kawhi back. So I think just the talent on that team, there isn't much comparatively to other teams in the West who are that good, but
They're
they've
well
got what
coached.
Mr.
That's
do
what
right
that's
now.
what it comes down to. They're well coached.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've got fucking smoothies and shit. I don't know if you've seen that, but they got like green ass smoothies. It's weird.
Yeah. So and then we have the Pistons game Friday, which I'm on homestand. I saw this thing. We've had the second toughest schedule in the NBA up to this point, and then we have the second toughest schedule in the month of January. And I'm like, when the hell does this end?
The third toughest, yeah.
When does this end? Like it seems like we've played the Celtics and the Raptors so many times, and we haven't even played the Nets yet, and we only played the Knicks once, which I guess is a good thing because like we're gonna play them more down the stretch. But who the hell designs these schedules? Like why are we playing?
I know. This homestand is going to be tough. Okay, you got this.
Yeah, we're playing
the Celtics and the Raptors, and then we got the Celtics away, the Bucks, and the Grizzlies. Now the Grizzlies, we can win that. I think
The Bucks game should be
can
good.
win
My
that.
favorite games to watch are the games against like middle of the like playoff pack Eastern Conference teams.
Yeah, I
It's
would love the Pistons. Okay, that is a great team for us to play.
Well, I was at the home Pistons game, the one where Drummond fouled out, and that was a great atmosphere. It felt like a playoff atmosphere. It was a good game. So let's talk about our little facets of the NBA discussion. Like,
Okay,
so
so I'll introduce this.
all right.
So we have an argument. Is Devin Booker a top 20 player right now? I
And
say no. Dave says yes.
so,
Okay.
Wes, I want whichever one of us. Do you want to start? Because
We'll start.
all right. Mine's gonna
It's
take a long
your-
time because I have a
Yeah.
preface. Right. So we were talking yesterday, and oh, by the way, we're not going to be talking about many Philly sports after this. So if I didn't realize the podcast has been long. If you want to shut this off, shut this off. But I think this is actually the most interesting part of the podcast. But yeah. So thanks for watching. If you're gonna cancel out right now, so we were thinking that there are basically 5 facets to an NBA player, like 5 things, and they're not equal magnitude of importance. I'm just going to list them right now. So one is getting your own shot, right?
Score.
Yeah, like scoring,
Scoring.
getting your own shot. But like I'm not talking about catch and shoot. I mean like a scorer.
Inside the
Yes.
3-point line, essentially.
Yeah, or like maybe like an off the dribble, like any just like getting your own shot. There's rebounding, there's passing, there's defense, and then there's catch and shoot like threes, which has become a big
Yeah.
part of our game.
Overall
And
shooting, essentially.
yeah, and Wes and I agree that like if you see these 5 categories, like they're not each 20% of an NBA player that would make you 100%. The most valuable is easily like getting your own shot and being able to score, because there are maybe 20, 25 players in the NBA that you can rely on. We're like, all right, we're down one with 15 seconds left. We need a bucket. Here's the ball. Wait till the clock gets down to 8, and then do your thing and make a shot. Like, there's not that many.
Wait. Answer the fucking phone, dude.
Dude, it's not. It's not my phone.
Whose phone is it? Someone's phone is ringing in your background.
It was a house phone. All right.
Hell?
All right. So yeah, so we have those 5 facets of the game, and we agreed that getting your own shot is the most important. And basically, like, if you are one of the 10 best players in the world at doing that, that makes you extremely valuable. Like, we can't stress enough how important this thing is, because not that many teams have it and not that many players can do it, because the Sixers don't have a guy that can do it. Like, that's what we hope Markelle Fultz.
Yeah.
We hope Fultz can be there, but right now, and that's part of the reason that we get hurt a lot. We literally do not have a guy that can do it. A lot of teams don't, and it's a very special thing to have. And Wes and I, so if you don't understand what we're saying, like, basically, like, names of this are James Harden, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, like, guys that, like, you just, like, spread the floor, you go ISO, like, he's just standing at the top of the key for 10 seconds, and then he does his thing and hits a basket, right? So I think that Devin Booker is the 5th or 6th best player in the NBA at this, and that inherently just makes him more valuable, at least makes him a top 20 player. But, like, my argument for that is, all right, it's pretty undisputed that Kyrie Irving is a top 20 NBA player, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say he's probably 12.
Yeah. Okay.
With this run, he's probably top 10, maybe.
Definitely he's a top 20 NBA player. And so
Easily, yes.
Besides, like, the reason that he is a top 20 NBA player, because he's, out of those 5, he's really only top 20 in the NBA at that one thing. But he's top 5 in it one, and he's very...
He's top 2 at it, probably.
I don't know. Maybe. But he's... That's not the point.
Better at what he does.
It's not the point. I'd take LeBron, Harden, Durant over him.
No, at what Kyrie does.
Well, finishing around the rim and handles is only part of that. It's not the whole thing.
But he's easily the best in the league at
that and handles. He's the best. Yes,
Yeah.
he has. Okay, I'll give you that.
He's by far the best at finishing.
Okay, but let me continue about my point.
Okay.
That is the only reason. That's the only thing that Irving is good at out of those 5 things, and he's undisputed top 20 in the NBA. He's probably, some people put him top 10. He's definitely top 15.
Yes.
Devin Booker is top 5 at that also. He's also a better passer than Irving, a better rebounder than Irving, and plays about equal-ish defense to Irving, give or take. There's no reason that Booker, who is elite at the most valuable thing in the NBA, should not be a top 20 player. That's what I'm saying.
See, I think what you go wrong there with is I don't know how much better at anything he is. I think Kyrie is a better player at literally everything, except for shooting.
Booker averages more assists, and he's playing with a shitty Phoenix Suns roster.
No, he doesn't.
He does not average more assists?
No, he does not.
Are you sure about that? Because as of a couple weeks,
sure about that.
As of a couple weeks ago, he did.
I'm looking at the stats right now, Dave.
How many does he average?
Okay. Kyrie averages 5, and
I thought Booker averaged 6.
4.
No, you're right.
No.
Shit.
Yeah, averages 4.2.
He at some point in the year he did, because I remember someone was making that argument.
Yeah, and they were wrong.
It's still irrelevant. Like, he's also a forward, and Irving's a guard. I mean, he's 6'7". You know what I mean? Kyrie Irving's a point guard. I don't think Booker's better than Kyrie. I think he's a top 20 player.
What was it?
Well, and Irving's averaging 4.9, Booker's averaging 4.2. It's not that big of a difference.
But he's still more.
Okay.
He's more of an Allen Iverson-esque player. Okay. Yes, he has the role of a point guard.
Irving?
But he goes and gets his own bucket when he needs to.
Yes.
Okay? Devin Booker, he gets most of the shots in that system. Okay, he probably averages more shots by about 6 or 7, I would guess, than anybody else in that Suns team because they know he is their. He'll take the 28-foot jump shot like he did against the Sixers, okay, and they'll go in sometimes, but a lot of the time they won't.
Will you concede that if he's a top 6 or 7 pure scorer in the NBA, he's a top 20 player?
No,
You don't think so?
no.
I don't know what else I can say.
Pure score off the dribble, I don't believe that is that significant that, look, all right, if you want to put that as that significant, then how good is Draymond Green to be in the top 15 of 98% of all top 100, top 20, top 30 lists?
Because he's elite at everything else on that list.
Is he elite at everything else?
Just about. You can't look at numbers when you say this stuff. Draymond Green's a very, very good passer, and you don't have to look at assists. You can ask anybody that watches Golden State games. Draymond Green is a very, very good passer. He's obviously a very, very good defender.
Yes. Yeah, he is.
He rebounds
But-
very well. He's not a great shooter. He's an average 3-point shooter.
Okay, but if you're weighing it that much, then how can someone be in the top 15 and in the NBA and not have that as a like? Is Draymond Green even a top?
Because
Like,
let me
on
answer your question.
scorer?
Let me answer your question.
No.
No, I can't answer your question. What?
You broke up.
Oh, all right. Let me answer your question. Why? Draymond Green, with a team around him, Draymond Green is like the other stuff becomes more valuable when you have people that can score around you, like Durant and Curry. Does that make sense? Like if you're starting a team from scratch to be your star player, you choose Devin Booker over Draymond Green. But on the Golden State Warriors right now, Draymond Green's a way better fit.
Yes.
Okay,
Alright,
that's
why-
the argument.
That's why DeAndre Jordan survived when he has very little talent in Lob City with Chris Paul.
Yes.
Because Chris Paul
Everything's
is
about fit.
elite
I'm talking
at
about
creating someone else's shot for them.
I'm talking about everything else is about fit. I'm talking about you starting your franchise with someone. This is the criteria.
Yeah, I can list. I have my list at the bottom of the sheet. Okay, it says 20 players that are better, in my opinion, than Devin Booker.
Do you want to?
Okay.
Are we going over them, or are we going to wrap up?
I mean, if you want me to go over them, I'll go.
Just
over
list
them.
them.
All right, LeBron, Giannis, KD, Embiid, Harden, Curry, CP3, Anthony Davis, Kristaps, Kyrie, Paul George, Russ, Kawhi, Dame Dalla, John Wall, CJ McCollum, Jimmy Butler, Clay, Blake, Griffin, and Cat.
I have. There's a couple really suspect ones on that list. Like
I know CJ McCollum probably.
that is sus. What? Don't say
I
that.
just-
Booker is better than C. That's not even like a debate. That'd be like me saying that Kawhi Leonard's better than LeBron James.
Well, a lot of people did say that last year, actually.
That was the end. No, it's not.
I shit you not. A lot of people said that last year.
People, retarded people. Don't associate yourself with those people. Like, no, McCollum's not over Booker. I have problems with Wall, Griffin, Dame, and PG also, but I mean like McCollum's one that like I'm not even gonna argue with you about.
CJ, all right. I'm not like CJ McCollum. Is he better than Devin Booker? I don't know. I would say they're about the same, but I think that every single other one there is better than is top 20, and it's just a fact.
All right. Well, I think
Marc Gasol maybe.
I don't know. I'm sort of tired of talking to you, Wes, saying stupid stuff.
I actually didn't even put Draymond in it.
Well, I mean, it depends. Like, everything in basketball. It's not like baseball. You don't really need fits in baseball as much as you do need it in basketball. Like,
No, you don't, because it's a lot more.
yeah, it's a lot more individual. It's like an
Yeah,
individual game.
singular.
You know, like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it besides saying that like you're starting your franchise, you choose Booker over Draymond Green. But if you have a team with two MVPs around you, you choose Draymond Green because he does the other stuff well.
Okay.
That's
Well, I
that's
think
the
it's time to
argument.
wrap this pod up, my guy.
Yeah. So
So, let's do the outro.
yeah. So I hope you guys listen to the whole thing, and I really want feedback, whichever way you can get it to us, like any way possible. Literally, just drop feedback because we want
Yeah.
to know how to get it better. We'll try to do this.
DMs are open
Yeah.
on MLB Central updates.
Yeah.
That would be great. Those of you in the Sixers Drawn group chat, you know who you are.
Yeah. We want to get this up to once or twice a week. Shout out to @PhilaGoat on Instagram, a great Sixers page, PHILA Goat GOAT. Great Sixers page. He's a great guy. Also, I've been talking to him. Yeah, that's about it. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, and let's just hope that the gods give the Philly sports a healthy Joel Embiid, healthy Markelle Fultz, at least one playoff win, and a non-retarded manager for the Phillies. I'm looking at you, Pete
Next week.
McCannon.
Next week, we have Owen, who is one of our friends.
He's a
and
great,
he is
great NBA
very
analyst.
knowledgeable about the Sixers. He's great at. I mean, he's just a very smart person, and
Hmm.
we'll love having him
He's
on.
better
I'm
than
sure
Wes
you
and I,
guys
in
will
all
too.
honesty. In all honesty, he's way better than Wes and I. All right, so thanks, guys. See ya.